You know this world has gone insane. It is absolutely no secret. But tonight, Saturday night, you are about to experience the true pleasures of what that insanity can bring you. Tonight, you are about to see Bald and Bonkers, the one-of-a-kind show that delves deep into the world with no holds barred. Now, meet your hosts, Dakota Franson, specialist of the strange, and Crystal Mule, the UFO fanatic. Now, give it up, and let's see what these two idiots can bring you.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the other Saturday night again, and I can't believe these two. I really cannot believe these two. We're joined tonight by Lex Paranormal himself. I just don't know. Where's the ejector button? And welcome to Bryan John. Oh my God,
Huntaphobia. Like a knockoff
welcome.
Johnny Depp with that.
Oh my God, this is just. I just don't know, man.
You know what? I'm laughing at Lex, but I'm also laughing at your intro because this has got to be the only intro out there where it says at the end of the intro you have to listen to these two idiots. Like I've never ever seen that.
But that's what the show's all about. I mean, we're bald and we're bonkers.
Yeah, but you got idiots in there, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry. I'm hopefully one day I'll get to visit Dakota and treat him to something.
It's bad enough you hit on my mother.
What do you mean?
Oh
You have got a pretty mother. I can't help that. I can't help.
Oh
it.
Jesus! And she listens to this show, so
I'm just saying she's very pretty. She's in the same age as me. She's in her young 30s, isn't she? I mean, she's pretty. I can't help it,
so
guys.
I didn't know you were adopted, Dakota.
she's my mother's 45. It's like what? I'm getting confused here. What the hell?
It was one of these situations where there was a chap at the door one rainy night, and the woman opened the door, and there was this basket with a bald child.
Yeah. Chris.
When did I become Harry Potter?
His mother. That makes a fantastic show.
So, guys,
let's share the picture. Let's share the picture of your mother, so everybody can see your mom. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I thought there's a certain picture I can show of him. But...
You can show that picture anytime you want, Dakota. You wanted it. You asked me for it. So
I did not want a picture of you deep throating a banana. So should we get started?
This is
with
the thing,
show?
guys. No. This is why we're here before we go live here, because we have to be professional. He's hot. Where is he? He's down there. He's hot enough. You wouldn't say that wasn't professional. We're live.
Yeah, I really feel like that chat we had backstage about this show is professional. I think Chris has just shot himself in the foot here.
I know, I just have. But look at it this way, guys. The last time we were on, we started the show and we weren't speaking. It was just an absence of quietness, the tension.
It was,
but
yeah,
tonight,
I do remember
that. Good memory. So, guys, welcome to the show, and as it says, Bald and Bonkers, we're definitely bonkers. So, guys, how was your trip to the United Kingdom?
Well, I think Brian should answer that because I never.
Well, yeah. Lex never left, so
I know he just wanders about, and it's like, come on.
It was definitely an interesting experience all around. Like, obviously, I've been to the UK before. I've been to the UK a couple of times, but going under this circumstance made it really, really interesting. And there were a lot of really, really cool places that we went to. And my whole thing when I first started talking to everybody about doing this was, yes, the coming over to London was great, and yes, doing the locations were going to be amazing, but it was really about meeting everybody else and collabing with everyone else. that's what I was really looking forward to. And it didn't disappoint. It really didn't. Everybody was fantastic. And Portals to the Paranormal were amazing. Robert from, the patrol were great. And, John and Ralph, they were okay. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
They were great too. And they were amazing. And everybody we got to meet up with and the people that we met and the places that we went to was just incredible. It was an amazing experience. It really was.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Lex, did you have a good time?
I was actually just about to say, out of all the teams he listed about meeting them and it was great to meet them and stuff, he didn't mention me in that list, did he?
No.
Well, based on the video I saw of Bryan announcing that he made it over to the UK and you blinking 3 times to say that you're in a hostage situation, I think we can't really air that out there now.
Oh my God! Oh dear Jesus! I just
what I was going to say after the amazing part, and obviously the best thing out of all of it was getting finally to meet Lex in person, and where do I even begin with Lex? He was everything I thought he would be in person, but a little bit more. He did give me, and I say this on other podcasts, he did give me shit a couple of times. And he called me out a couple of times, but overall, no, all kidding aside, it was a great experience meeting everyone, and obviously as Lex as well. But it was different. It was different than it is here in North America. It's completely different, and the energy is different. The experiences were different. Going to all these places and knowing what you're kind of walking into, and that you come to some places in Canada and you're told what you're walking into, but I just found going there and going to these places, what you're walking into, but then there was more. Then we found out more. And it was just a great experience. It really was. Yeah. And I plan to go back. I don't know when, but I plan to go back for sure.
Well, you definitely need to come back, and especially Scotland. I want you to come to Scotland because I think you and Lex in Scotland, I think that would be a hit. I think it'd be awesome, So Lex, how is it for you, my good friend?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. I agree with the points that Bryan said, that meeting everyone was really cool, and the best thing for me was learning how the others do it, because I've never teamed up with anyone before. But being in this game for almost 2 years, and that entire time I've been watching Bryan do his videos, to see how he does it in person was a really cool thing for me. Like, I really took that. Like, I don't like being like this fanboy like thing, because I'm not a fanboy of Bryan. I'm a friend of Bryan. but
Right.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Take that so sideways, but
we make t-shirts.
Yeah, it's like a mentor thing. So, like, Bryan helped me do my first video, helped me get confident in doing my videos by just being supportive of me from Canada, by commenting on my videos and messaging me on Twitter. But then to be working alongside him during the tour, where I got to learn from the man himself. And I could see, I saw a lot of what I do wrong and a lot of what I do right just by being in the same room while he's doing investigations and stuff. So the most important thing for me, other than meeting everyone and collabing, was actually the huge learning experience that I think it was for not just myself, but everyone that was on the group. But also learning that, I don't know if it's just me, does anyone get the idea that Bryan's really tall? If you haven't met him in person. Because I was really thrown off that he's my height. It was really weird. Like, I'm not a tall guy. I'm 5'11". But I remember that, me and Bryan had this chat, and I was like, "How tall are you, by the way?" Because I have a feeling you're going to be like 6'4". And then he's like, "No, I'm not." And then I met him in person. I was like really thrown off by the height because of cameras you can't tell. So learning the fact that he's also my height was also a massive confidence booster for me. So that was good.
But the two of you are the perfect match, and two really good ghost hunters together. I mean, Lex, I know your videos are amazing, and Bryan, amazing ghost hunter. The two of you together are awesome. See, there you go.
You together in the dark, such a perfect harmony.
In the dark, lonely at night.
You were just talking about playing with your balls, so.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Brian was telling us tonight he's got some amazing footage he's got to show us. It was him and Lex were playing with the balls. So they'll be showing it shortly.
So just to put that out there for those listening to the audio version of the podcast, you can enjoy the visuals.
Yeah, every guy is a fan of balls. I don't care what they say.
Yeah.
It's a fan of balls. Christmas time, balls.
I said this time you've got 3 balls, so it's...
Yeah.
Look at when they be Bald and Bonkers, I had to bring that up, But listen,
we need to get Lex to shave so he can be initiated.
Yeah, it's funny. I like what Lex said there, and by learning off everyone, and there were some things that I learned that I'd never seen before, like what some of the things that Portal to the Paranormal, they did a few things that I'd never seen before. I've heard, but I've never actually seen them, and it was a great experience. And I think that's another thing too. When I first started talking about it to everyone, was we're going to learn off everyone. We're going to become better investigators because of this experience, and we did. And some of the footage that especially the footage we're going to be showing today, was amazing, and the experiences were amazing. And I learned things off Lex as well, and everybody else for that matter. But yeah, I like what Lex said because it was definitely true.
Yeah. So, Dakota, what you doing there?
Okay, I'm starting to glitch out. Something's happening. So, shall we get into this footage? I'm really excited to see some of this, considering knowing some of the locations.
You want to get into the footage? Okay,
let's do it.
What I'll do is I'll set that up, and then Lex will show the mausoleum first.
Yeah.
And then you can talk about the mausoleum and its story. And I will set that up.
Is any of you guys got any kids round about you?
Any what?
Country?
Kids round about you. I just heard a little girl laugh.
No,
I heard that too.
No, not
Did you hear that?
Okay, I was literally seeing some sort of orange orb appearing right next to me. I was like, okay.
I'm going to tell you. Well, I am going to tell you.
Bust out the salt.
So there is something here. I see it every so often.
That was so creepy. That it was kind of like a kind of hi. I don't have anything to spray. I've only got some Volvic. That was so weird because I've got the headphones on and I could hear the little girls laugh. It was like something you would see or hear in a horror show.
I know who that is.
Okay, so I'll let you. So did you guys put this up on the stream? I can't see you guys because.
Yeah, it's up.
Yeah,
okay.
You're up.
It's up.
Okay. So I'm going to show the mausoleum first, and Lex, if you can tell them the history, that'd be great.
Do you want me to say the history now and then do the video? Yeah.
Yeah, you might as well tell them what it's about first before we show the video, so it makes a little more sense.
All right, cool. So the first one, as we said, is a mausoleum, and I can't quite remember which town we're in at this point. It's like a small village near Portsmouth, I think, in Havant. Sorry, or maybe just beside Havant. But the mausoleum's really cool because it's empty. There's no one in it, which is really weird. But we found out that the people that were supposed to be in it, it was a man and wife whose name escapes me. I think it's Lawrence.
Lawrence and Emmeline.
Emmeline, yeah.
Or Emmeline or something.
Emmeline, yeah. So yeah, Lawrence and Emmeline. And when they were building the mausoleum, so they could obviously both be in there. But he died very early on, so he was buried somewhere else. So she finished the mausoleum off, and she had him excavated and brought over to the mausoleum, where they found out that the lead-based coffin that he was in couldn't fit through the door, so they couldn't put him inside. So he's actually buried about 10 feet in front of it. So literally,
be more beside it, right? Like to the.
But it's a bit forward and then to the side.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like diagonally. But it's only about between 5 and 10 feet, so he's not miles away. But she's actually buried there too. So she died 30 years after him, and she was buried next to him, again, outside of the mausoleum, so they could be together. So as far as mausoleums go, it's the first one I've ever come across that no one's using, but they've kept it up all these years, and I think it's a really beautiful thing. But the main question that we had while we were there was, did this prevent Lawrence and Emmeline from being able to talk to us? Were they still going to be there? Because they're not in the mausoleum, so they might not have been. So we ran some tests, and what we're about to show you confirmed our suspicions.
Now, what I want you to keep in mind too, there was a 30-year span between each of them dying, and that's important also in this. Okay, here we go. Okay, let me ask you a question. Are you buried here? Light it up if you are.
Hey, you just went off. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I heard a step behind, towards the back of the mausoleum.
So you're buried here. Light up the ball.
Did somebody just go ooh? I just heard a woo.
Can you light up the thing at the top of the step?
You like us unraveling your story?
What was the man's name that was buried here again?
Lawrence. Lawrence Shaw's story, and she's Emmeline.
Lawrence was his first name?
Lawrence.
Yeah. If your name's Lawrence, light it up.
K2 went off.
If your name's Lawrence, light it up again.
Wow.
What was her name again, sorry?
Emmeline.
Emmeline?
Emmeline?
Emily? Okay, can you stop it? Is there an Emily here? Emmeline?
Yeah.
Is there an Emmeline here?
Wow.
Thank you. Is Emmeline buried here? Lawrence, are you buried here? Is it true that you were buried somewhere else and you came here to get buried here?
Yeah.
Are you two together?
Oh.
Wow.
Oh.
That was really good.
That's
Immediate
really good.
response.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Right. It's kind of romantic, isn't it?
That's incredible.
Everlasting love.
That was incredible. And the K2's going off as well, man.
Oh, it's made me feel all
So what I wanted to say, just for the people that you said you've got audio listeners who can't see the video, we have a light up cat ball on the steps outside of the mausoleum, the ones that light up if they're touched, and every question that Bryan was asking regarding to them moving to the cemetery, are they together and stuff, as soon as he finished the question, the ball lit up. But as you can see, if you come back and watch the video footage that we put up on here, you'll see that none of us are near it enough to touch it, and we did check that there was nothing leaning on it. And after we did that test, the balls actually didn't light up again for at least 30 minutes. So we know there was nothing manipulating it other than people asking us questions. But
you know what I found interesting is that one question where I said, "Is Emily?" I said the name wrong, and it didn't light up.
Didn't light
up. When
I
said the name right, it did light up.
Mm-hmm. And the same thing when you asked if he was originally buried there and it didn't light up, and then you said, were you buried somewhere else, and then was you moved here, and then it lit up, which confirmed what we read the story from. So
that's truly amazing.
What I found amazing was the fact that, you know, people always ask these questions on their investigations, we're totally. I don't think we're totally clear or not that, when two people that are in love die, are they together? And there was a 30-year
Yeah.
span that they weren't together, and they somehow found each other. So I really think that's going to answer a lot of questions that people ask. Are you two together? Or you loved him? Are you with him now? Those type of questions that people ask. Well, that just simply stated right there that they're together, even though they died 30 years apart.
Yeah.
And it was an incredible moment.
I'd
And-
also, sorry,
Go
carry on,
ahead.
Brian. Sorry. I was just
Go
going to say,
ahead.
I'd also like to make it important. We had a rule during this investigation, all our investigations, where the groups that were taking us to these locations, we instructed them not to tell us anything about the place unless it was something we needed to know beforehand. So we needed to know the names of the graveyard of whoever owned the mausoleum. So we had to know that, and we had to know when they died. So that's how we knew about the 30-year difference. We had to find out everything else whilst we were there. So the questions that Brian is asking, like when we found out about the 30-year thing, we were actually reading the gravestone, or trying to read the gravestone, because it's old. It's like 1800s or so. So like, this was a really cool thing as well. We didn't go into this knowing this story. We found out bits and pieces what we needed to know to start doing questions. And when we didn't know about how long the gap was, we actually went, like Brian was still doing questions about a different, trying to do some other questions. And me and Portal to the Paranormal were trying to take the moss off of a gravestone so we could read the years and work out what if it was 5, 10, 30 years. So I think that's very important for anyone who is investigating, is not to go into it with a shit ton of information. Sorry for the language. A lot of information that you're reading online, because you don't want to influence your investigation. And that's what's great about this one, is it wasn't influenced. We only found out about these little bits and pieces as we were going along, and then we confirmed them all. And at the end, we actually found history about them. So it was a really cool time.
I found it amazing when you started, when you mispronounced her name and the ball didn't flash, but then when you said it right, it flashed, and I thought to myself, that is one of the best bits of evidence I think I've ever seen. That was really good.
It's funny because I didn't show it in this video, but there is a certain part while we're doing this that I actually cut what looks like to be a shadow going along the stairwell towards the equipment, towards the cat balls and towards the REM pod. It's white, and it's moving slowly along the stairwell going towards it. And even during that investigation, this happened quite a few times. At one point during this investigation, there was a light that came out from the mausoleum, went around the corner, and went into the mausoleum.
And it was visible by everybody as well. Like we didn't see that through the camera. You saw that with your own eyes. I only missed one. I think it happened 3 times that I remember, if I remember. One of them I didn't see because I was actually filming like this, and my shadow is on the mausoleum, so I'm blocking Brian's light. So obviously I'm casting the shadow on the wall, and all you hear is everyone who's with us start shouting about this white light that's just gone across my shadow. And we couldn't explain it because I'm blocking the only light source for the day. There's no reflections off of anything because the only camera that I'm using is pointing down at the equipment from where I was stood in the video. And across my shadow, the same white light thing happened. So we had that one. We had one go across the stairs, like Brian just said, around the equipment, and then the one that went out of the mausoleum, around, and then back in. So it was visible to the human eye, which was probably the coolest thing I've ever seen.
That's
it was the whole experience. And Lex said this on another show. When we first walked in there, honestly, we weren't. It was so quiet and so dead silent. We weren't. No pun intended. I'm sorry for that, but. We didn't think we were going to get anything.
I think we had a discussion about this, like when we was doing getting the setup ready to do the intros and stuff, and we were like, I'm not sure how much we're going to get, because we have our own feelings about graveyards anyway, that we both kind of agree on, that we don't think graveyards. I've only been to 2, and only one of them, and it's the mausoleum one, something happened. In the other one, I didn't really get anything. Brian's had the same thing where graveyards aren't really that active for him, but we watch it all the time that people were getting good stuff in graveyards. So I went in there like, this is going to be a cool video to do because it's a cool shot. I didn't think we were going to walk out of there as... I mean, I was personally, you can tell, as Matt said, my reactions in the video. You can see how I react to what's happening in front of me. And I can't hide my natural look of fucking shock when it happens.
Yeah.
So apparently he loves my reactions. I don't know why. I keep seeing it now as well. Every time I watch that clip, I just see how my face just beads into a grin.
Well, it's funny because it's funny because at one point when I think it was one of the questions, I think it was the second last question, and we look at each other, and I'm going, like, it's unbelievable, and that's only part of it. Like, I didn't show the whole thing, and it was just like it was like we were stunned. I'd never seen anything like I've seen people get responses on cat balls or spirit balls or whatever you want to call them, but not to this extent. Like question after question after question was being answered. And it was like these people just want to talk. They just want to talk. Like maybe they're sick of each other.
and they spoke. The other cool thing as well is, especially in the mausoleum one, which is I will talk about the other ones in a bit, but the mausoleum ones, they spoke to us for ages. Like that little portion there is, I think it's a 28 to 32 minute long questioning series we did, and eventually it stops. And like I said, we left I think Bryan left the tape recorder on like the whole time it was on the staircase, and we go off and we're doing other stuff, and none of the equipment is going off on the stairwell at all after we finish engaging with it. And then obviously which we'll talk about in a minute, Bryan's accident, it starts to activate again, and it's almost like they're laughing with us because we're laughing at Bryan. And
what accident
it was just really
this?
Cool. Yeah,
I have to say this.
This is the mention of jock straps earlier. So
I have to say this before Lex says the story about me falling. We asked the question. Did you laugh at Bryan too? And the ball lit up.
Mm-hmm. And it kept doing it as well. Like, you know when you're laughing a lot and you're like, you keep laughing, you stop to take an intake of breath, and then you just remind yourself of it, so you just start laughing again. The cat ball stopping and starting was almost mimicking us laughing, because we were all doing it. We're all laughing heavily, stopping for a brief second, laughing again, stopping, laughing again, because it was just funny. We obviously checked if Bryan was okay after we finished laughing, but you'll in the video that we've got it on camera, and it's going in a blooper end shot, a blooper reel of the tour on my end, and you can actually see that I'm trying not to laugh because I'm still on Bryan's camera, and I don't know if he's hurt himself. So I'm on the thing, I'm filming through the window of the mausoleum when he does it, and I look, and you can see that you can see that he's like, don't laugh. He might be hurt. Don't laugh. And then as soon as he gets up, he's like, "I'm okay." I just broke. Like I was laughing, but the cat balls were almost mimicking the pattern of laughter. So we asked, "Are you also laughing at Bryan?" And it went off again. But it was like the most
sense of humor. They have a sense of humor.
It was like the most communicative pair of spirits that I've come across in my short time of doing it. Usually you get some responses, then they go away, something else comes in and talks to you, or depending where you are. But this was like coherently, constantly for 30 to 40 minutes of like when you put it all together, 40 minutes. It is back-to-back communication constantly. And we kept checking it was the same people we're talking to as well. And it kept lighting up when we said their names. So it's easily one of the biggest highlights of the tour.
Now, I will say I fell. We all know that. So we were doing
No, you didn't fall. You ate shit. You went down a hill twice.
So before that, I just want to say before that, the reason I went up beside the mausoleum, I can't remember if it was Rosie or Sarah that said they saw a shadow walk away from the mausoleum. And so I went up there to see if I could see anything. So then when I came back down, I stopped, thought I heard something. Then I proceeded to walk, forgetting that I was on a little hill. And I went, boom, right down. And I stopped myself. And then I fell again.
And almost hit a tree.
Yeah, I almost hit a tree. Well, my side hit the tree.
Your side hit the tree, yeah.
I thought it was painful.
I've just had a vision there. The vision of this guy for you.
Oh, just wait till the video comes out, because it's literally the funniest thing. It is the funniest thing.
But then the spirit ball goes off, and everybody's laughing, And then I just happened to ask a question. Are you laughing at me? Or somebody asked a question. I think it was are you laughing at me falling?
I think you asked it, and it went off, and then we asked again. I was like, do you find it funny that Bryan fell over? And it went off again.
Sorry. Oh, my
Obviously very, very intelligent.
Yeah,
and,
that's
for it to answer the questions that I was answering. And it's like we went to a lot of phenomenal places, but this place was, and it's funny because sometimes you walk into a place like, you think, okay, I'm not going to get anything in here. And then it's the complete opposite. Like we walked into another place that I'm going to show the clip of now. Yeah. We walked into another place called the 1940s room. And when I first walked in, yes, I thought, like, when I first walked in, I go, okay, we're not going to get anything here. I started walking outside, and all of a sudden I felt there's a woman, there's a man, and there's a child there, right off the bat. And but when I first walked in, I go, oh God, it's like it was a cesspool of a woman that's collected crap over 60 years. It was like it was like a hoarder's dream.
So,
and it was so much.
Yeah, to give you some context of what the tea room is, it's called the 1940s tea room, and it's basically it's a little tea room, like very British tea room. The ceiling is about 6'2" off the floor, so you're very like boxed in, and everywhere, all over the walls, the shelves, the floors, the ceilings, there is memorabilia of World War I and II all over the walls. On the second floor, they have another layer of uniforms, clothing, board games, more war memorial stuff. They have the letter of surrender by Germany on the wall, stuff like that. So it is incredibly packed full of this war memorabilia. So when Bryan didn't think we'd get anything, I had the inkling that we would because of what it was on the walls, but it was packed.
Okay, so can you see it?
Yeah,
it's up.
Okay, I'm going to play it.
Here? Did you hear that? Yeah. We just heard a large thumping upstairs. K2's going off now in here.
What was lit up then? Just turned off?
The phone.
Oh,
wow.
Look at that. Oh!
Careful. Okay.
Oh my
and
God.
The foot's going
okay.
off as well. All of it's going on.
Got REM pod and the balls. That's fantastic, that was.
Thank you. Thank you for touching it.
The K2's
K2's still going off.
I see, guys, we're getting some really good.
Can you play that again, could you?
You want me to play it again?
Okay. Yeah. Because I can make a storm upstairs.
Here? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
We just heard a large thumping upstairs. K2's going off now in here.
What was lit up then? Just turned off?
The phone.
Oh,
wow.
Look at that. Oh!
Careful.
Okay.
Oh my
and
God.
The foot's going
okay.
off as well. All of it's going on.
Got REM pod and the balls. That's fantastic, that was.
Thank you.
It's just brief to
Thank you for touching it.
What I find interesting, and I heard it for the first time playing this video, and I don't know, I'll have to go back and listen to it again, but I thought I heard somebody sneeze.
I heard that too.
I thought I heard someone as if they were like sniffing or something. Like,
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
It sounded like somebody sneezed.
Could potentially be Nando because he
It could be,
or
it could
me.
Be. Yeah, it could be. So I'll have to go back and look at your footage.
Yeah,
Lex.
I can. At the start,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say at the very start of it, I could hear like a light thud. It's like
it was directly above us.
Yeah, it was like it's as if somebody jumped off of something onto the floor. That's what it was like.
And, it was really this place was really super cool. I think it was the most active place we had during the whole investigation. It was very active, and this is what I was saying at the beginning of the show when learning about stuff. I'd never seen it. I'd heard it, but I'd never seen it before. The Portal to the Paranormal do this little experiment where they have a glass, and they turn the glass upside down. They put a marble in the center of the glass, and then they obviously do the circle and talk or whatever they're saying. But I'd never seen that before. I'd heard it, but never seen it. And it's trying to get the what's ever there to move the marble, so it proves that nobody around us is moving the marble. And they asked a question, and boom, it went right across the glass, right up against the glass. And that, now, I will say that we made sure the table was even, and it wasn't uneven. And it was cool. And just to let everybody know, I did have my phone there, and the K2 was going off, but I want people to know that my phone was on airplane mode, so it wasn't affecting the K2 whatsoever. So
and
it was a really, really cool moment.
Yeah, and we did this at the beginning of every test. We made sure because the only person whose phone was probably admitting was Nando, who was posting a live stream of the investigation, but he was stood way by the front door. He's behind me, and you can't even see me in the shot, and I'm to the left of the screen. So he's nowhere near it to do it. I think it's really interesting because that was a K2, 3 spirit balls, and the REM pod, and all going off at the exact same time. But even better than that, which I think I might have turned the camera into film where the other guys are. There's another side of the room behind us. It's like we're in one room, then there's an adjoining room next to it with no door, which is where the counter is and the tea tables. And there's a table in there, which is where apparently all the most active stuff happens, according to the owner. It's also where my camera chose to break for no reason. So it's a fun thing, which is still broken. But the girls were doing I think they were doing a Ouija board or a sound box test where they do the motion box on the table, so it lights up if it's moved, vibrates, and they're all just sat there. So, and at the time that our stuff started, as soon as our stuff went nuts, their K2s, they had 3 or 4 K2s around that room. All of them went to red at the same time that our equipment went off as well. So that was really cool as well to know that. And the thump you had upstairs, none of us were upstairs at the time because we weren't sure if we were allowed up there. But the owner then let us up there. But
there was like
no one up there.
You know what it was like. Again, this is going to sound strange, but if you've ever had kids in the house, it was like something light but jumping down, and you notice, and then you notice like a couple of seconds later, the cat ball started going off. So it makes you wonder if they've heard whatever's up there's heard you. And it's decided to come down.
Oh, we know something heard us because there's a particular question that I asked that really, really got us going for the evening. We were asking about, I think there was a child that we were asking about for the for the first part of it, because Brian immediately knew about a woman and a child, and he said the man, but we were focusing a lot on the woman and child. And I got the idea while we're doing, I think we might have been doing a spirit box and the REM pod at this point. I had an inkling that this stuff is filled with war memorabilia. Right. We just, I mean, earlier that night, me and Brian were educating some of the Portal guys, like, what do we mean by residual energy and stuff like that. So I remember saying to them, I was like, there's probably something in this room that's brought something into here. Yeah. Whether it be all the uniforms on the wall were worn. So they've seen the war. So I was like, maybe there's an attachment on here. So I just got the idea. And when I was asking the questions, the REM pod was lightly trickling. So something was near enough to it, but not enough. It wasn't grabbing it or anything. It was just like light noises. While we're asking if there's a man present, and I was asking if he was happy to talk to us and all this. And it was agreeing with me. And then I said, did you die in, I think I said World War I. I said, did you die in World War I? and it was almost as if someone had grabbed the aerial. It went so high pitched that there was no denying that it was a strong yes. Like this person was very aware that they were killed in the war. And then I proceeded to ask, like, is there something of yours that's in this shop? Again, it answered yes. And when I asked if it's one of the uniform jackets that are along the stair wall, it went off again. So I ended up putting on one of these jackets for the rest of the night. But it was really cool. Like, in terms of equipment and activity, we had I believe we had a kid messing with us up in the marble upstairs. But to add to the point of the marble thing that Brian said, there was a point. Not only did we get to the point where the marble was pushed from the center to. We asked if you want to speak to someone, point the marble to who you want to speak to, and it shot to Sarah from Portal. And again, me and Brian were still looking at this test skeptically. We were like, maybe it's just rolled off center. I don't know, but we kept trying to fix it. And then there's another one where we said, can you rotate the marble without pushing it? And the marble is still against the side of the glass, and all of us are just holding the top like this, so we can't move. You couldn't spin a marble on its. In the one spot, you couldn't just turn it. And I think it's on my footage. I think I've definitely got it. You can see the marble turning on its own underneath the glass in one spot. So,
standing in one spot, like sitting in one spot, and it was just starting to spin.
Starting to spin around.
And it was just super cool. And what I thought what was really cool too, because I know a lot of people are getting into the cat balls and stuff like that and using them. And I say this, and I've said this on other shows, like there was a box right beside us, and it had a coffee maker in it. Okay, so they actually put one of the spirit balls in the box, and the ball was going off.
Wow.
And it was just like, so nobody was touching it, and the K2 was going crazy while we were up there as well. And the place was obviously, I felt the woman, I felt the child, but the man's presence was the stronger out of all of them. And it was just one of those things where you walk into a place and you go, you know what? Yeah. There's going to be a lot of residual here, because of all the memorabilia that was everywhere. Yeah. But that place turned out to be that place turned out to be amazing.
I mean, I don't know if it is tonight, but I think something's followed you, Brian, or Lex. I don't know if that is.
Did you see? I just had something come across my face right now. Actually,
I don't know if that is right. I don't practice this. I can see them, but I don't practice in it. That's what I need clear to people. I don't practice in this kind of stuff. But there is someone standing behind Brian, right? And I'm sensing it's a child, a girl. I don't know. It's weird. It's I seen something moving about, but we'll just leave that.
What's going on? It's funny. Before I started the show, I closed that closet. It's weird, and it's open. So let's go on to the. I'm going to show this one because I think this is a good one, because I know you guys put on your thumbnail Men in Tights, and I think I had to show a clip for Sherwood Forest.
Come on, so, the two of you look lovely in tights.
Now this is going to blow you. This is going to blow you away, and it blew us away when we were there. Obviously, I'm going to set it up. Lex can tell you what happened, and it's pretty cool.
Which bit are we showing here?
The one where you ask about the Vikings.
Settlement. Okay, yeah. So, in terms of Sherwood Forest not only being famous for being Robin Hood's hideaway, with the 1,000-year-old tree in the middle, we actually found out that further down, GSI told us that there was an original settlement of Vikings camped down the hill. And that's what, when they came here, that's where they went. And we pretty much ignored this information for the entire time. We really focused on the Robin Hood side of things because it's Sherwood Forest. Why wouldn't you? And we got to this point, and we're a bit further into the forest at this point, just past the big tree. And again, we're asking questions like, are you an outlaw? We were actually being followed by a female spirit down the pathway, but she wouldn't come as far as us. At this point, she stopped before this part of the clearing. And we thought that was really strange as well, as if she's not allowed to go there or she's scared of something this side. But they've never reported negative energy here. They just felt like you were surrounded by people, or you were being constantly watched by people in the spot that we're standing, and we got that. We felt that as well. But we started to ask, "Are you the woman standing on the behind us over there? If you are, we invite you to come down." Didn't get anything, and then I decided. I just remembered it. Like, I think just after. Ralph's asked if you're an outlaw, which you might not be able to understand because of his accent. He says outlaw, so just it's a toughie. And I decided to ask, are you anyone from the Viking settlement that originally settled here? And I got one of, if not the clearest response I've ever had to a question during an investigation so far.
Let's see it.
Are you hiding from us? Are you hiding from us?
Are you an outlaw? Are you a part of the Viking settlement camps that were here?
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Yeah.
That was so good. Thank you. You're a part of the Viking settlement camps that were here.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Are you a part of the Viking settlement camps that were here?
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
That's amazing. It just catches it, of course.
Yeah, and it's really weird because, I did ask the right questions during this, and since we've done this, and I think I'm putting it in the video, like there's a bit where I talk about this, where, sorry about that, I forgot how to breathe. That was really weird. Sorry, I don't know if you heard that noise. That was weird. So I get so excited talking about this particular clip. So, but I actually did a thing where I talk about the fact that but it came through in English. And what I've taken away from that is, one, they either at this point had learned how to speak it, because they obviously didn't come here speaking English. So, and I really pressed this matter further in the investigation because I believe that there was female prisoners of the campsite from here, and I think I think I came to a personal conclusion that if it wasn't a Viking talking to me, it could potentially have been a captive of this nation who were taken to their camp that was speaking to me, because in our tour we actually do get responses in different languages. We had one that said hello to us in Russian, or another, and stuff like that. So, which I really like, because I love the fact people just seem to edit out foreign responses because they can't understand it, but you can translate it. So we did that. So I noticed some skeptic people who we've shown this clip to have said, yeah, but they're speaking English. And I'm like, yeah, but this could be 100 different things. They could have learned it, because we don't know how long they were settled for here. We don't know what their grasp of English was anyway. None of us were there. And two, they're very renowned for taking people into their camps. And later in the investigation, we actually asked for permission to speak to someone that they're holding at the camp. And the response we get later on is, you only one, or talk to her, or something like that. So we get given permission to speak to this one person. And then it cuts me off. When I try to do that, it then intervenes and stops me from talking to said person. So personally, for me, in my video, when I express it, I personally believe I'm talking to someone who's been held prisoner by the campsite. But a big part of me really wants it to be the spirit of a Viking, because the history of that is a massive, massive thing that I'm interested in. And I know quite a lot about the Norse people and Vikings. So I thoroughly enjoyed that one thing, and it's just cool to hear it.
Yeah,
it's quite interesting, because some people will be like, maybe because they've been dead for so long, they've learned the language, right? But then again, it makes you wonder if there's a type. Again, this has got to sound crazy, but it's as if there's some time with temporal kind of slip, because if they're going into camp and asking someone to speak to someone. You know what I'm trying to get in this point. It's as if you're going back in time. See, maybe
a little bit,
Yeah,
Now,
it's a bit
wasn't there
strange.
wasn't there something around for like I remember hearing about this quite a few years ago that when if a spirit is of a different culture or a different ethnic background and it's speaking its language,
Yeah.
when they speak, it's in their language, but when it comes out, it's in ours. And that was a thing. That was a thing that was around for a little while, and I'm wondering if that was ever disproved because
I just think that's just an easy cop out of a way not to explain why everyone presents English evidence, or people or Japanese culture ghost videos where they only speak Japanese. And stuff. I think that's just a very umbrella term to try not to have to explain why they can't get a French response in England or something like that, because we know it can be done because we've done it.
I mean, I find that so interesting, Lex, because you've asked to speak to someone in the camp, right? Mm-hmm. They've took you and they've went, "Yeah, I'll get you someone." So it makes you wonder what the reality is like.
It was weird. They wouldn't.
Go ahead. Sorry.
The weird thing was it wouldn't let me talk to them. It said I could talk to one woman. That was the weird thing. It wouldn't there was like a male response, and it wasn't agreeing with me at all. It was negatively answering questions, and it was almost hurrying me up. Like, I think at one point it tells me to stop or something like that. Yeah. And I was like, I just want to confirm who you are. Can I speak to one of you? And it said only one. And I was like, who am I speaking to? And I can't remember. I haven't seen this clip for a little while now, and I can't remember what it said, but it does indicate that it's a female. Or I think I ask if it's a female I'm talking to, and it says yes. And then another one comes through and says stop. And it's like a very abrupt male voice. So it was really conflicting. So I do feel like there was someone who was probably killed by the camp trying to talk to me, and then the Vikings were telling me off and trying to prevent me from talking to them.
You know, I also find it before that we were standing around that big tree because that is the big landmark of of Sherwood Forest, and I asked a bunch of questions there. As soon as I got there, as soon as we went over the fence, because there's a big fence that goes around and to protect the tree and stuff. And we went over. It's only like a 3-foot fence, but so we went there and we were standing by the tree. I wanted to feel a tree that was over 1,000 years old. Oh yeah, to be honest, it was absolutely incredible. And as soon as I got close to the tree, I said, "There's a crap load of spirit around this tree. There's many spirit." And I literally asked the question, "How many spirits are here?" And it came out. It said 40.
Wow.
So it was just absolutely insane. And, you know, as you guys are aware, Sherwood Forest was on my bucket list of places that I wanted to go to. And it didn't disappoint. It really didn't disappoint. And the only thing I was disappointed by one thing, and one thing only with the Sherwood Forest, and that me and Lex didn't get to skip down the path in tights. And
I don't regret that. I'm more than happy to never have to do that.
Well, you know something, guys, you're just going to have to come back to Sherwood Forest and do that, recreate that image, you know?
No.
Yeah.
I think you should, honestly.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
You think about that tree. You think about that tree, right? And they say all things are living, right? That tree is nearly over 1,000 years old. You think of what that tree has witnessed.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when we were walking down the path to go to the spot where the tree was, Ralph was telling us a bunch of different stories from GSI. It was, and by the way, that was Ralph and Cheryl from GSI that were in that video. I just want to give them a shout out because they were great. They took us to another location as well. Called the Beach Caves in Stoke, which was amazing. I can't wait for people to see that video. And I actually captured what looks like to be a shadow in the part of the caves. I put it up on Instagram and stuff like that. And anyway, so he was telling us a bunch of stories on the way down the tree and what they've been experiencing because they've been there several times. And he told us a story about. It's not necessarily Robin Hood. There is another story about a Robin Hood type of person, but he was stealing, but he wasn't giving it to the poor. He was just giving it to himself. So supposedly he was being hunted and he hid in the tree. And so they wouldn't find him. Well, I got on the SB7, are the stories true? And we got on the SB7, he hid.
That's amazing.
Which was like, wow.
Yeah,
like it was just validation on what Ralph was telling us. But there are the Robin Hood obviously being the famous story but maybe there is this part of that story is true, of another guy stealing, but just not giving to the poor, giving them to himself and his mates. And, it's just the Sherwood Forest. If you ever get an opportunity to go there, you have to go because it's really incredible. It really, really is. And it's just one of the many spots that we went to. I do have one more clip that I want to show you.
Oh, bring them on. I'm all excited here.
This is at the Victorian Chapel that used to be a hospital at one point, and they made it into a chapel. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get inside, but we were standing outside of it, and we got a lot of activity on the outside of it as well. And so if I know there was a person that stayed there that's very famous in the history books, and that is Florence Nightingale, and she was not a fan of this place, from what I understand.
She said it was built wrong. It's facing the wrong, like the wards when it was a hospital were the wrong way. So like, as the sun was setting, the wards wouldn't get any. Like as the sun was up, the wards wouldn't get any of the sun because the windows are built in the wrong direction. So she fundamentally didn't like the idea that this hospital has been designed so the wards don't get sunlight. So the sun passes the other way, so they never see it. And that's as far as I'm aware why she didn't like going there.
You ready?
Okay. That's actually interesting. That.
So I have this device in my hands, and what you can do is you can speak into it. We'll be able to hear you. You can tell us anything you want. My name is Bryan. This is Lex. Who said Bryan? Was that Bryan? You can tell us anything you want. My name is Bryan. This is Lex. Who said Bryan? Was that Bryan? It just
Bryan
said?
and Lex.
I thought it said
Did you say Bryan? Did we hear you correctly? Can you tell me your name, please? Well, let me finish introducing you to everyone. There's Nando. There's Rosie. Well, let me finish introducing you to everyone. There's Nando. There's Rosie.
Nando. That's Nando. 100% Nando.
There's Nando. There's Rosie.
Nando.
Wow.
So that one's really cool. We determined. Cool. I heard Dakota say it sounds like it says Bryan and Lex. I think we determined that it says Hi Lex at the beginning. Is what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
But the second one is what's more intriguing. Nando's a very unique name. You don't hear it on the radio. And to have it come out as soon as it did, like, it was incredibly cool. So we just got two names straight away. But the Nando's one was really quite cool to hear come out of the SB7.
Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
I was just going to say, because every time you went to say we're here, and you were just about to say the guy's name, the Spirit Box would go Nando.
It's funny. This is something I've always done on every investigation. I always introduce myself, and if there's people around, I introduce them as well. For me personally, it's just something that I think is respectful, and I really think it helps guide the whole evening on your investigation. that just showing that you are going to be respecting whoever's going to come forward. And that's something that's very, very important to me, and I continue to do, and I will always continue to do it.
Yeah. Brilliant, though. That's absolutely brilliant. I must say that was brilliant, because it's how its response, because you were in the tip. You were in the tip of saying the guy's name, and it did it for you.
Just to shout out Nando, and it was one of those moments where you look at each other and go, "Did that just happen?" Like, it's like, and we all get to witness it we all get to witness it, and there is something funny that happens after that. I'm sure it's going to be in one of the bloopers. But
I can't wait for this to come out. I can't wait for
you know
for
what I'm
this to
talking
come
about,
out.
Lex, right? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah.
What happens after that? So it's funny. It's I don't know why it happens. It happens on every investigation. It's just weird thing. You always go on an investigation and something weird always happens. This always happens to me, and a lot of people know about it, but every investigation, when we start filming, for some reason my fly is down. And right after that, I think I'm not sure if it was Sarah, if it was Rosie, and somebody said, "Your fly's down." And everybody just starts laughing.
The spirits out there that gets that way too.
Yeah, it was just funny, and it's just I wish we could have gone inside. I think it would have been great if we went inside, but we got a lot of action because we went to the other side of the chapel. We had the cat balls down, and I was asking questions, and there it goes again, the cat balls going off, and just asking so many different questions. And then right after that, we go to a graveyard that's connected to the obviously the chapel. It's a little further down, and we got some great responses there as well. And
I can't wait
through all the footage. I haven't gone through all the footage yet, but the whole trip was amazing, and these guys were great. And I can't say enough about Portal to the Paranormal. They were awesome. They really were, because the last week some things happened that were out of everybody's control. Rob from the patrol, he had to go into work because a lot of his staff got COVID. So he had to ended up going to work. So we ended up having to cancel the last week with the patrol, and Portal to the Paranormal came through and got us 3 or 4 more investigations, and it was great. It was a great time. It really was. People are going to enjoy the videos.
I just can't wait. When are they out?
Yeah.
When are they released? When are they released?
I'm looking at mine. It's going to be a 4th and 5th season on Paraflix.
Right.
So I'm looking, the 4th season probably going to be starting around October, somewhere in there, because my 3rd season on Paraflix starting in July. So the beginning of July. So it's probably going to be around October, November, where I'm going to start the 4th season. I don't know about Lex, but
2 to 3 months for me.
Oh, 2 to 3 months. You know what I said?
Oh yeah. But that's because I'm doing it better. I'm actually doing a lot of work on making this good compared to my older videos, because this is my 2nd and 3rd season, and I've made a lot of creative changes through editing, thanks to Bryan helping me get new software. But also, I've got a different vision to how I want my videos to look, and I'm really taking my time to make sure it's as well polished as possible for a YouTube video.
Yeah, they're going to be great videos, and Lex is going to have a lot of my footage, and I've got a lot of his. So we're going to transfer back and forth in footage. Obviously, we have 2 different editing styles, and but mine, if you're a member of Paraflex, and if you're not, now's the time.
Well, that's what I was just about to say to you, Bryan. Do you want to punt out all your addresses and tell us all where we can find everything?
You got 10 minutes? You got 10 minutes to spare?
10 minutes.
Dakota's just
all night
very,
if you want,
very serious. Dakota,
I know. I actually think something's affecting Dakota.
Really?
I'm serious. Yeah,
Dakota,
I'm serious.
you okay?
There's something. I think there's something affecting him.
He's concentrating on something.
There's something running about him. I don't know if you've noticed. Have you noticed, Lex? There's something running about him.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I've seen it
Dakota?
moving about. I've seen whatever it is, but I don't know what it is. It's moving. I don't know if it's the same thing. It's been behind Brian. Yeah, it's.
I don't know. Can he even hear us?
Well, he can hear us. But it's as if there's. I notice. I don't know what it is. There's just. I'm drawing at that cupboard next to the wardrobe next to you, Brian. I don't know what it is. There's something in there. I don't even want to look in there.
Well, there's the other night I was what was it, a week and a half ago, sitting in the TV room, and I saw a black shadow go across my ceiling.
Yeah.
And that's what I normally see when I see things. I see black.
It's black.
So anyhow, other than that, where you can find me, there's so many places you can find me, and I never say this first, and I should always say it first. It's Parapost Network, the app. If you want to download it through iOS or Android, you can download it today. It is free. You're not paying anything to download the app. And it's a community of everything under the paranormal umbrella, whether it's, paranormal investigators, supernatural, cryptics, or cryptids, and enthusiasts as well. If you're an enthusiast of all these different things, you can come over to the page and contribute your thoughts and your maybe pictures that you have. Everybody's in the community news feed, so everybody sees that, everybody's stuff. Second thing is,
you go.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say that Parapost is amazing. It's like Facebook, but it's like I like the map that you've got where it's all the haunted locations. I think that's brilliant, guys. Check it out when you go.
Yeah, and Lex said he was going to put all the haunted spots into the haunted locations once he gets some time. So there'll be a bunch of new spots going up there. The second thing is Parapost Network Central Facebook page. This was originally for the app, but I've turned it into a podcast page and a live streaming page for your investigations. So if you want to come over and get your investigations up there or your podcasts, just give me a message and we'll get you as an editor and we'll put you up there and you can do your podcast, you can do your live investigations and stuff like that. And it's really growing. We've had it for about 2.5 months now, 3 months now, 2.5 months, 3 months. And it went from 250 to now 2,200.
Wow.
So it's
good.
doing well. It's doing really, really well. You can also find me on Huntaphobia Canada, the Facebook group page. You can go over there. It's public. You can post what you want to post, obviously within the topic of the room. And you can also find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok. And TikTok's going well. I'm going to start. What is going on?
There's people in the chat. The people in the chat can see something behind you, Brian.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So TikTok I'm going to start doing some more lives on TikTok. So that's starting. Instagram, Twitter, like I said, and obviously you can find me on Parapost under my name, and my public Facebook group page is under Brian J. Laverty, Laverty. So if people want to add me as a friend, they can do that as well. So
all the links.
One more, and Lex always gives me crap for not saying this.
No, it's mine. No,
okay,
it's mine.
Sorry, it's yours.
Lex is next anyway.
It's Lex's. Sorry.
Raymond's already told me in the chat that it's mine.
Yeah. Lex.
Okay, yeah, I see that now.
Do you want to tell us all about?
He also said earlier that he wanted to make his order.
I did. I chose to ignore that one. Yeah, I mean, if he wants it, it's been sat in the window for ages. Here you go, Raymond. Come and get your order. I drank the drink he ordered.
Is that pancakes? Is that pancakes?
No. Why would it be pancakes? It's a burger.
No, because I know the breakfast pancakes at McDonald's.
No,
they have those still.
I don't know. I only
that
order
looks
burgers.
Like the container for them, doesn't it?
I'm a burger man.
Okay.
Oh my god!
Anywho,
Lex, please tell us all about you and where we can find you and such.
I feel like I'm auditioning for Blind Date. I'm telling you about myself.
There you go.
Nah, I'm joking. I'm a lot simpler to find online. I am on Twitter at Lex Paranormal YT. Feel free to message me, comment on stuff, tweet me, whatever. I reply to everybody, so that's fine. I'm more than happy to answer questions and whatnot. Second one would be my YouTube channel, which is where season 1 of Capture the Unknown, my investigation series, is already completed and on, and 2 and 3, as you've heard tonight, are going to be on there in the next 2 to 3 months, I believe. And that again is just Lex Paranormal. It'll be a big purple ghost logo, almost like him, so you know you found the right place. But also, you'll recognize this beautiful hunk of meat. I look different in my videos, to be fair. I'm getting well out of control. I've got a ponytail now. I mean, look how my image is just changing.
Is that a ponytail? Wait, is that so 90s?
I've joined the samurai, my friends. I'm becoming a higher species of being. But yeah. So there's
Luke
YouTube.
Skywalker have that? Luke Skywalker? Didn't Luke Skywalker have that?
No,
in the newer version.
No, he didn't.
Anakin did.
Anakin
Okay,
did.
whatever it was.
So did Qui-Gon. Don't pretend you know Star Wars, Brian.
No, I'm
especially
not
not on Star Wars.
pretending. That's why I said I don't know.
Okay. Some of us are excited for the Kenobi series, which is on Disney Plus at the end of the month. I'm plugging Obi-Wan. Let's get it the highest rated show on Disney. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, so my YouTube, YouTube Lex Paranormal. I also have a TikTok account, which is again Lex Paranormal YT. I post weird stuff on there. Not really paranormal stuff anymore because I don't like TikTok really. I don't know. I don't know how to use it. That's why I'm not a 21-year-old girl promoting an OnlyFans account, so I can't really use TikTok that well. Because that's what that dancing app has turned into.
Dear.
And lastly, and lastly, I'd like to promote my Bryan and my talk show. We have every single Sunday, 9 p.m. GMT, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. It's Through the Lens with Bryan and Lex. It's on YouTube. It's on the Power Post Central Network. We are hosted by DNTV, so we're also on their page on Facebook as well. We are trying to get those numbers up on YouTube. We're getting decent amount of watch time and viewers and stuff on Facebook, but we want YouTube to start reflecting that too. So if you would like to go over and subscribe to Through the Lens with Bryan and Lex as well, and tune into one of our shows where we have a different guest on every single week. And we're a heavy promotional show. That's what we do. We promote people's podcasts and YouTube channels and what stuff like that. So again, if anyone is interested in becoming a part of that show and wanting to come on as a guest, they can feel free to contact myself or Brian if they have a podcast, a paranormal podcast or a paranormal channel that they would like to promote. That's what we do it for. So that's all where you can find this beautiful specimen.
Yeah.
Well, you can also...
I did forget one.
You forgot one?
Yes.
What did you forget?
The reason I'm saying it is because of the fact that you can find Huntaphobia on YouTube. The reason I'm saying it is I'm finally working on the second part of the video that I did a few months ago. I only did the first part. I'm now working on the second part of that video, which hopefully will be released at the end of the week. So finally. So you can follow me at Huntaphobia over on YouTube as well. Too many spots.
Well, there you go. I mean, all the links for Lex and Brian are down below on this live tonight.
What is Raymond saying?
What's Raymond?
With me, Brian. Viva La Bam. What's that? I'm not following that.
I don't.
Is that going right over my head?
I'm trying to remember who was it that talked. It might be a reference to Bam Margera, which Raymond said I look like a knockoff Bam Margera when we had him on the show last week.
Okay, I got it.
Which I don't. Today, I'm discount Johnny Depp. That's what I am today.
No.
Oh, that's another thing I'd like to say. Amber Heard is a liar. Fuck you, Amber Heard.
Okay, this has got to go on their podcast, so let's
Which is why I'm doing it. I'm spreading positivity.
It's just fine. It's absolutely fine.
Defending people who are
upset
that the celebrity is faking to be beaten up. It's quite bad.
Well, I did see your tweet today, or was it you, or was it somebody
Mate, there's like
else?
9 of them. I'm heavily tweeting
I saw one today. I think it was your tweet or somebody else's that they have set the cast for Pirates of the Caribbean, and Johnny Depp is not in it.
Well, he got cancelled like when she made the allegations. Yeah. It's not a new thing.
So, I know it's not a new thing, but
I only watch it. I only watch Pirates of the Caribbean for Johnny Depp.
No one's gonna watch it.
No, nobody will watch it.
I would think that the way the case is going, and it's looking like it's in his favor, and that she lied about everything. That after all this is said and done, they would go, okay, well, he's telling the truth.
He's not going to go back to Disney because of the way they treated him. Same as Warner Brothers, I think. I think he's done with like those two studios because of this. But I just wanted to say my piece. I'm not very quiet about it on Twitter. So
it's not very nice what's been done to him, isn't it? You know what I mean?
No.
And things like this are needing to be taken more seriously, especially men happening. Because, you know what I mean?
Finding out that she went to the bathroom in his side of the bed,
in his bed,
would say that this girl is not all there.
She's nuts, mate.
You know,
she is absolutely. I mean, she looks like she was snorting something on the stand yesterday. So
yes, I seen that. I seen that. Yeah, I seen that.
But the only reason I feel strongly about it is because I see a lot of, especially females that have been victims of abuse, who are really angry about how she's portraying it. So that's why I'm not hiding my support on Twitter. I fully stand behind Johnny and his team, and I stand behind all victims of domestic violence or DV anyway, because it's disgusting behavior from both men and women. And I'm glad he took it to public trial because we can see it happens to both.
Yeah. So, Dakota, we've got a website now too. Dakota, do you want to say anything about anything before we go off the air?
Yes, we do have the official Bald and Bonkers website, baldandbonkers.net, where you can catch audio podcasts. We are looking to get a sort of TV network set up on the website to help showcase all of our members' channels. We also do have Parapost listed as a friend of the network, so you can go ahead and check them out as well. All sorts of new merch coming out, all sorts of new projects coming up, including a live investigation of a UFO crash out of Canada, so I'm definitely going to be looking into that.
Yes.
Plus, we also have more information about the documentary coming soon, which hopefully with our distributor can get us to Vudu, Gaia, a lot of the major networks. So we'll see how that goes.
And our show tomorrow, Dakota, what special guest do we have on tomorrow?
Yeah, one we definitely wouldn't cancel on.
No. We have Lisa coming from, what is it, My Mystical... What is it again? How does our channel go?
We have Lisa Fry from My Mystical Life. This was the lady that found out apparently Chris and I have ET relations, and now let's just say something weird always happens when she comes.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah.
So you know what? I do want to say one thing before we go off the air here. You guys placed an ad on Parapost Network, and talk about that for a minute, because I want people to go over to Parapost Network, click on that ad, and tell them where it goes and what it's for.
Yeah,
because I think it's amazing.
So when it comes to a lot of the UFO subject, there is not a lot out there when it comes to the actual context. These stories, essentially, they say, oh, this person says this weird thing happened, that there was that weird thing in the sky, and that's the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
There are more and more reports coming out of one-on-one contacts, hybrid children. I mean, there's weird stuff going on with this K2 as we were on live, I've noticed. And needless to say, this is a topic that needs to be explored a lot more, because we have the situation in Ukraine. There's all sorts of activity going on that cannot be ignored, and there's going to be a huge global shift. The ad on Parapost is for the Kickstarter campaign to try to gather up funding for the documentary, which we are calling We Are Light.
Yes.
Several of our more popular guests have agreed to help us out with that, which I cannot thank them enough.
Yeah.
Let's just say the situation around this documentary, it is evolving to the point where contactees having to go to the hospital are all of a sudden having their blood stolen.
Yeah.
There's active suppression efforts. Everyone who shows that they have activity going on all of a sudden has computer issues to the point some electronics are actually blowing up. And the most recent one may be Men in Black visitations as well. So we are onto something huge.
I saw something on the History Channel the other day about the Men in Black thing, and it was really, really super cool. It was a long program, but it was interesting. It was really, really interesting. And but I wanted you to talk about this because first I thought it was great because I looked at it and stuff like that, and I also wanted to say thank you for advertising on Parapost. It was was really cool. And when I saw that, I said, you know what, much love, guys, much love. And you guys are great. And I love coming on your show. And I want to say thank you for having us on your show today. I just love everything about you both. And you guys are great. And continue doing what you're doing, guys, because you're doing great things. And I enjoy it. And I'm looking forward to watching your journey as you go further and further. And hopefully some way, somehow, me and Lex can be a little bit of a part of that. And
come back anytime you want.
You know, and you guys are doing amazing things. So I want to say thank you for having us on.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you for coming on.
So we'll talk to you after the live, guys. And thank you, Lex, for coming on. And thank you, Brian. And remember, guys, please check out those links. Please go to Parapost because I think it's amazing. All the links will be there. And please check out Brian's channel on YouTube, Seen Through the Lens, especially Lex's channel. Because, come on, it's only 3 months. We need to wait till we get the bloody videos out.
It is going to be worth the wait. Trust me, it's going to be worth the wait.
Yeah. And I got a documentary coming out soon too, as well.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's going to be good things. Good things coming.
Add that to item number 25 on the list of plugs that Brian is now obligated to make.
You went to anything else?
Wait a minute, I got one more. Everybody, there's something coming June 1st that's going to blow everybody away. And watch out. There's going to be a video released on June 1st that's going to say everything about this. Get ready, 2023.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to advertise your car in case you're getting a new one.
My Nissan Murano is
We'd also like to plug Glade for making my black smell nice.
Yes, that's right. Let's actually go for our sponsors, Dubby Energy
That's
Drinks.
Right.
This stuff is effective. So as someone like me who has a high caffeine tolerance, that definitely helps me keep awake so I can keep track of all my projects, which include there's also the documentary. I also have a couple other movies coming out, not necessarily paranormal related, and there is also a couple of video games I'm in as well coming out very soon. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
I watched your live. I think it was yesterday, the day before. You were playing a video game.
Well,
that's why.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh yeah, I'm actually in video games, man. So
yes,
I have an valid excuse.
He's in his own video game. He's in his own video game. Yeah,
I'm in at least 3 now.
We can go on for like 2 or 3 hours, couldn't we?
I know.
Not crap out.
I know. At 5:30 in the morning, before he is, would still be yapping away, and Lex would just be in the corner.
Oh, I'd probably be asleep.
Playing me. You're making us jealous. You do know that, Lex. That is terrible. You're playing with your beard, and then you're playing with your ponytail, and you're playing with your hair. And us pair guys,
I was wondering
how
long it would take for you bald fuckers to notice I was doing that the whole show. Just running my fingers through my hair.
See, terrible.
You know what? I said it before you came on, Lex, earlier, that there are stats out there that bald men are considered the most beautiful men in the world, and also considered the most intelligent.
I bet you any money that fact was probably made by a bald man who wanted to make himself feel better. So it's fine.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please join us tomorrow night, 10 p.m. So, we'll catch you all later. We're off to the madhouse now.
Thanks, everyone.
No problem.